Let us now move on to discuss the seventh case suffixes, Saptami Vibhakti. The main sutram which prescribes the Saptami Vibhakti is 2.3.36, Saptamyadhikarane cha. Before we take up that sutram, we have to define the sanya, the designation adhikaranam, and the sutram which defines adhikaranam is 1.4.45, adharo adhikaranam, adharaha adhikaranam. The vritya of the sutram says kartru karmadvara tanishta kriyaya adharaha karakam adhikarana sanyasyat, which means that karakam, the participant in the action. Don't forget the adhikara of karke, which runs from 1.4.23 to 1.4.55. So the designations which are defined in this adhikara, they only apply to a karakam, a participant in the action. Okay, so that participant in the action which denotes the location or support via the agent or the object of an action subsisting in the agent or the object is called adhikaranam, location. So the adhikaranam is the location or support for the action, not directly but via the karta or the karma. So it is a two-step process. The action resides or subsists in the agent or the object, and the support or location of that agent or object is called adhikaranam. This will become clear when we take the examples. Before we do that, let us look at this note which says aupashleshiko vaishayiko abhivyapakaschetyadharas tridha. Aupashleshikaha vaishayikaha abhivyapakaha cha iti adharaha tridha. So adharaha, location, is of three kinds. First is aupashleshikaha, involving upashleshaha. What is upashleshaha? Rubbing together, a contact or proximity. Second is vaishayikaha, involving a vishayaha, involving a subject matter, a topic. Third is abhivyapakaha, the verbal root ap preceded by the upasargaha vi and abhi means to pervade. So abhivyapakaha is involving pervasion. Let us take examples of each of these three categories. First one is the aupashleshika adharaha, means a location involving contact or proximity. So for example, kate aste, someone sits on a mat. Now the action of sitting resides in the doer, and the doer is in contact with the mat. The location of the doer is the mat. Hence, kata, the mat, gets the adhikarana sanya by the sutram 1.4.45. So this is an example where the location or support is via the agent of the action. Now let us take an example where the location or support is via the object of the action. Sthalyam pachati, sthalyam odanam pachati. Someone cooks rice in a utensil. So the action of cooking resides in the object, which is the rice, and the rice is located in the utensil, in the pot. Hence, thali, the utensil of the pot, gets the adhikarana sanya by the sutram 1.4.45. This is an example where the location or support is via the object of the action, in this case rice. Third example is that of proximity. Gangayang Ghoshaha, a cattle station on, meaning the proximity of the Ganges, not literally in the Ganges, but on the bank of the Ganges, in the proximity of the Ganges. Similarly, Pathigraham, a house on the street, meaning that the house is in the proximity of the street, by the side of the street, not in the middle on the street. This is the case of proximity, which is also a aupashleshikaha adharaha. Now, contact may not be only with respect to an object in space. It could be contact with time also. For example, ratrau svapiti, someone sleeps at night. The action of sleeping subsists in the doer, of course. The doer has contact with not an item in space, but here a contact with time. So ratri, the night, is the adharaha, the support for the action, because that is the time in which the action is done. So that is also a adharaha, support of the time element. In fact, in the sutram 2364, Panini says Kale Dhikarane, Kale Adhikarane, which clearly tells us that Kalaha, a period of time, can also get the designation Adhikaranam. So, Aupashleshikaha Adharaha doesn't necessarily mean physical contact or proximity. It could also be contact or proximity with time. Hence, Ratri gets the Adhikarana Sanya by this Sutram 1445. Second category here is of a Vaishayika Adharaha, location or support involving a subject matter with regard to, with reference to, concerning the topic of. So for example, Mokshe Ichhasti, there is a desire centered on the subject of liberation, towards liberation, concerning liberation, with regard to liberation, in reference to the topic of liberation. In English we just say desire for liberation, but in Sanskritam it is expressed as a desire whose topic is liberation. So that subject or topic or reference is a Vaishayika Adharaha, and hence Moksha gets the Adhikarana Sanya by 1445. Similarly, Putre Prema, love towards one's son. So it is love, the topic of the love, the subject of the love is the son. So on and so forth. This is a very important category, because when we normally think of a adharaha, we think of a physical substratum or a support. We don't think of a subject matter or a reference or a topic. Particularly because in English we don't use the preposition in or on. We don't say love on the sun or love in the sun. We say love towards the sun or simply loves the sun. That is why we have to pay particular attention to this kind of a adhara, the Vaishayika adharaha, because as I said, in English the usage is slightly different. The third category is the Abhivyapaka adharaha. Example is Sarvasminnatma asti, the self pervades, is present in everything. So when something completely pervades something else, is present in each and every part of something else, that is called a Abhivyapaka Adharaha. Here Sarva gets the Adhikarana Sanya by 1445 because everything is completely pervaded by the self. Now we continue all these examples under the Sutram 2336, Saptamyadhikarane cha, which assigns a seventh case affix to the Prajapadikkam, which denotes the Adhikaranam. So in our examples, Kata, Sthali, Ganga, Ratri, Moksha and Sarva, they all take the seventh case affix by 2336, which will be our next Sutram.